Okay, so today I want to talk about how it is literally impossible for an internet person's opinion to matter or have any tangible impact on your life. And I understand that some people are going to be like, oh, what if you get doxxed? Oh, well, like, what if, like, they're in real life? Oh, like, this and that. Well, one, this requires a certain mindset. And another thing that real life people are a little bit different because they legitimately can fuck with you. And honestly, people who are still on the internet, but you don't really have any ties with them, and they try and dox you, or like any of these other internet weirdos who already have your dox, it's actually, and I'll explain further, but it's actually pretty much impossible for them to stop you in your goals as well, assuming that you have goals and assuming that, you know, you're not some massively fucked up weirdo self-hating homosexual that like is currently in the middle of an emotional spiral that's ruining your life and you're suicidal, which I think there are a lot of people who are legitimately suicidal that don't actually say it, and they don't actually come to terms with that because that's like a painful realization. But anyways, requires a certain mindset. And in this conversation, I'm going to use two examples. One of them is going to be me, and one is going to be the infamous Shad Man, which I don't actually know very much about him because I mean, I think I went on his website once and I just saw like, well, if you know what's on the website, you know what I'm talking about. I saw that and I was just like, I don't think I want to look at that. So I think it's illegal to look at this. And so I don't really know too much about him, but he still makes fuck tons of money. Anyway, so I just want to lay down like a preface or like, to help people understand what the fandom was like way back whenever it first started, what it was naturally germinating into, because if I wasn't here, it was not going to turn into this like what it is nowadays. Because what it is nowadays is incredibly tame and law abiding in comparison to what it used to be. So whenever I guess I didn't join the fandom. Whenever I was already here, and whenever I saw the fandom kind of like blow up on TikTok, it was actually one of like the gifts that one of my server members made. Got posted to TikTok, and it immediately found its way into the most mentally ill, blue-haired, fat, transgender, homosexual, like everything you could possibly think of, child on child sexual, all these people, these pro shippers. The Alfred's Playhouse fandom immediately found its way into their algorithms, and they flooded, man, like you would not believe it. Like the my server, even though I was always an Alfred fan, and I was kind of single-handedly, my server was single-handedly keeping the Alfred fandom alive before it blew up on TikTok. My server was not the first Alfred server. There was probably about like 7 or so whenever it first started popping off before I finally made the official Alfred fan club. But anyways, you had people who used mainly little like teenage girls, like mentally ill teenage girls, bullied at school, yada yada yada, always scrolling on TikTok, brain dead. That was the fandom, and that's what it was naturally going to be, and that's what it was going to stay as. And then you had me, which was the absolute opposite of that, like an adult. Yeah, I was an adult, an adult male, NS based, does the whole workout bit, like actually lives like a pretty decent life. This fandom walked up to me, and I created goals for what I wanted the fandom to be. And I didn't see the current blue-haired shit going on, this horrors beyond comprehension. Like I can't even use enough buzzwords to describe how horrendous it was. But if you've been around the Alfred fandom, I mean, you kind of know. People posting pictures of shit, cutting competitions. I went into the fandom with a particular goal, and I decided that I didn't want kids having to go through this. That this was not childhood. I said to myself, and I said to the people around me, I said, I refuse to believe that this is childhood. And so I created Operation Alfred Pill a very long time ago. This was whenever the fandom was first starting. I don't even know. I think it was like 2020. Yeah, 2020 it started blowing up on TikTok. So that was almost 6 years ago. Time flies. And I decided that I wanted people to be able to look at it from a bird's eye perspective and understand what the show is actually trying to do, um, that the show wasn't about self-harm. It wasn't about killing people or going insane. It was actually making fun of that. And I wanted people to be able to see this, and I wanted the fandom to stand out as the first fandom that actually like guards itself against these kinds of things, against groomers, against child and child sexual assault, against like, kids seeing fetish porn, all this crazy shit, all this furry shit. I wanted this fandom to actually be able to be intelligent about this, and moral, and not evil, and not groom children. And so people hated me, like, obviously, because I went up to these like horrendous servers full of just the nastiest people that you could imagine. Some were adults taking advantage of the situation, right? Some were kids who were just naive and oblivious and extremely emotionally ill. I took away their ability to like fetishize each other. I took away their ability to groom each other. I took away their ability to have, cut-offs and post pictures of their shit and everything else. Like, I took away a lot of things from them that they came into this fandom to do. And so obviously they hated me. And this is not a new thing. So this happened instantaneously. I'm talking instantaneously. The instant that I showed up, the instant that I made the official Alfred fan club, the instant that I called myself the dictator, it was instantaneous hatred. I don't know, like, there was, I would say 1 in every 10 people like didn't just absolutely hate me in the fandom. The amount of people that would come into the server and just leave instantaneously once they realized that we're not going to tolerate their butthole being posted in selfies. Once people started to realize that, they would quickly scamper off into the horrendous side of the fandom. And oh boy, was there a plethora of bullets to choose from to put in your gun back in those days. And so I started seeing these other servers weren't really a threat to me because, like I said, I don't care. Like, it's impossible for their opinion to matter to me. I didn't care that they didn't like me. I didn't care that never did I delete a server because somebody didn't like me. I deleted servers and I raided servers and I kind of like ruled with an iron fist, so to speak, out of concern for their victims. Because I understand that the difference between a child walking into my server as it is now, which is not even an Alfred server anymore, versus, Transtopia or whatever Dog with Propeller Hat server was, the difference between walking into those two servers is like trauma. Like trauma that they will have to carry with them for the rest of their lives. That will never go away. That will forever shape a lot of their insecurities, that will prevent them from living a happy and normal life. And I'd look at these kids and I'd say, like, man, that's really fucked up. Like, I actually give a fuck about these people, these young adults, and I don't want them to go through like all this shit. And so me doing this, they hated me. But if you've known anything about the Alfred fandom, if you were even a part of the Alfred fandom, you'll know that I was very, very successful in what I did. And it's because that I didn't care at all what these nothings, these gubs, these snail people, these chicken people, I did not care whatsoever their opinion of me. Because if I did, and I tried to please these people or try to compromise with them, I would have never been able to do what I did. But if you look at it, I still achieved my goals. No matter how much they hated me, no matter how many times they made group chats and the entire servers dedicated to like trying to dox me or take me down or intimidate me in some way or another, it never worked. Not a single time. In fact, they would just get those servers like deleted because, I would either report them or I would just delete them myself, because it's so easy to delete the Discord servers for some reason. Social engineering, by the way, it's pretty S tier. But anyways, this assumes that you You have goals. I'll just say this. People started hating me. They started making like Google Docs about me. It never affected anything. They started to try to dox me. They made like meme campaigns. Like I'm sure if you've been in tune with the fandom, you know my Hazel rating all of my hate art video, which I thought was very very funny, and I loved it. It didn't do anything. Because at the end of the day, what does that actually do to prevent me from achieving my goals? Nothing. There could be an absolute army of people en masse, very skilled people trying to dox me, trying to harass me, and it never would have steered me away. If the Alfred fandom was 5 times bigger, 10 times bigger than it was, and that was just that many more people trying to take me down, it doesn't matter. It's impossible for it to matter, because the only way that could matter is if I changed my what I wanted to do, if I changed my goals to appease these people, if I moved the goalpost at all. If I let these these snail people, these chicken people, affect me and my goals and what I want to do with my life and my productive energy, and it's kind of like some people will say like, oh, that's useless because like, oh, it's just internet drama. Well, I mean, not really. The amount of people that have had their lives completely changed because of this and steered off of a negative course is well worth it, in my opinion. So anybody who says that like this was like pathetic or like a waste of my time, I just disagree. But there was never a point where their actions ever really affected me at all. And some people are going to be like, oh, but what about that doc that led to like Emily Eucas like disavowing it? Well, first of all, I don't think it was the doc. And second of all, Emily Eucas doesn't matter to me either. I still achieved my goals. The only reason why I did not continue after Emily Eucas was like, oh, you're a child molester or whatever. I don't even know. I can't even get a straight answer out of her. The only reason I didn't continue is because I had already checked out, and I had conversations with Eucas saying about how like I'm not sure if I really want to like continue this, like I was telling her like I'm looking for somebody to pass the Alfred fandom off to, whenever I'm ready to kind of like step away. Like this was something that I was planning on doing for a very long time. Before any of this happened, I was sitting down with like the people that I live with, the Alfred fans that I live with. I was sitting down with them and I was like talking about, possibly rebranding the server away from the Alfred stuff because, it's just like I'm not really getting anywhere anymore. Like I've already achieved my goals. And so anybody that says, oh, you stop because Emily Eucas told you to fuck off. Well, no, she was just another one of these internet people, like legitimately. She could have hated me. She could have made massive videos telling me to stop it. I wouldn't have cared, because I know within myself that what I'm doing is right. It doesn't matter who disagrees with me. It doesn't matter what happens. And so this is applicable to everything. Anybody listening, this is applicable to whatever your hobbies are. So like if you want to write, if you want to be like some great painter, or you want to develop some other skill, or if you just want to be left alone, like it doesn't matter what your skill is. Do your metalworking, do your working on cars, do your farming, do your gardening, blah, blah, blah. If your goals are that, to see change within, something external to yourself, you will be able to achieve those goals regardless of what internet losers think. And so, that's me. Hopefully I'm proof enough for that. But, I'm just going to talk a little bit about Shadman, which is like, if you don't know, I mean, he has like a website. I think he was like active on like social media for a while, but he got like banned off of everything. I think anyway. Like I said, I don't know very much about this dude, but I know that he was like a 4chaner, and he was like, like a big Nazi guy, like NS guy, which I don't think he is NS, but anyways, like he became infamous because he would like, well, I think he originally became infamous because he was, NS. And he was like trying to, and he got like pretty fucking popular, and he was trying to like push his art. He does art. He was trying to push his art and comics off on 4chan and like on DeviantArt and everything else. And then people hated it, and they were trying to shut him down. They canceled his payment processors. They kicked him off of all social media. Now he does like fucking, God, like to say pro ship is taking it lightly. In fact, I think in a lot of countries what he posts is illegal. But I'm not going to go into it. I don't like the dude, by the way. I'm just using him as an example. But he still makes fuck tons of money. He still has a career, doing this horrendous art that he wants to do, and people will pay for it. He is living the life that he wanted, and he never compromised on a single thing, because that's just how he is. And if fucking Shadman, and I hate the dude. I mean, it's like don't even look at the website. But if you have, you know what I'm talking about, and you hate him just as equally. If he can get away with doing that shit and just literally being a hate farm and making boatloads of money, living the life that you wish that you could have, that he exists in a free state. He's free in all of the ways that you are not, because he has achieved his goals despite being one of the most hated people on the internet. That just has to show that being hated on the internet, or like, not being liked, or people trying to like fuck with you in various ways, banning you off of social media, which I've been banned 24 times on Discord. Yeah, I know, 24 separate times. And none of and this, I would say a lot of these bans are from people reporting me that didn't like me. But did it ever stop me? Never. As long as it's as simple as doing that, making a new account, it's never gonna stop me. This applies to everything. It is impossible for people's internet opinions to ever have any tangible impact on your life, because it doesn't matter like what kind of drama goes on in the server or went on in the server. It never mattered, because at the end of the day, what I would do is that I would turn off my computer and I would sleep like a baby. And I'm an insomniac, so that's saying a lot, but I would sleep like a fucking baby. But you have to have the mindset that these people's opinions, like, it's the internet, dude. And maybe it's just because I'm old and I was on the old internet, and then basically everything was negative and an insult, and like it became a part of internet culture. Like I know people say new gen these days, but like back on the old internet, everything was fag. Like, people call each other fag, homo, so much that it became like just normal speak. So like, instead of saying like new gen, you would say new fag, but you're calling them a fag. But the old gents, they were old fag. It was intrinsically ingrained within the internet culture, like the old internet culture that I knew and I grew up with, that if you posted a picture of yourself at Mount Everest, somebody was going to say, I hope you fucking freeze to death, you fucking loser, you look like this and that and this and that, you look like you are a fry dipped in ketchup, or just trying to roast you, because back before roasting was even really a word, because that's just how it was. And people understood that on the internet, people's opinions don't matter, and so it was actually welcome. And I would talk with people like way back in the day on the internet who would just like hate on me, and then we would play Counter-Strike together, or like TF2, or whatever the boomer shooter is back then, because I know you guys think these are boomer shooters because Fortnite is here. Is Fortnite a boomer shooter now? I don't even know. But we would like banter back and forth, like look at the Call of Duty lobbies, like people would be yelling at each other and like calling each other nigger and everything else, and they were still playing games together. They would still hate on each other. I don't know. I just think it's a little silly how people get very emotionally attached to other people's opinions on the internet. I think that it's just ridiculous. I think that, and this goes to everybody, if you have a goal or if you want something to happen, and even if you don't believe in yourself, just try. And people are going to hate you because it's the internet. Just keep going. You want to make that stupid fucking cartoon dog animation. that you have no idea what it's even about, and you're just completely working off of vibes. Fucking make it. Post it to Twitter. People are gonna hate it, but if you keep making it and you get better and better, well, and you start writing scripts for it, and you start like learning how to compose, maybe not like music, but like, make some sort of like soundscape for the background, sound effects and everything else, well, it starts to become a little bit more undeniable. Your relevancy in this thing increases. And so, I'm just going to say one more example. I don't like Skinamarink. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that movie. It is horrendously executed. It is probably one of the worst executed movies I've ever seen, right alongside Where the Dead Go to Die. It is boring. It is uninteresting. It is way too long. The first like hour of it is just a fucking slog fest with basically nothing going on, like literally nothing. Like, go watch it. Go watch the movie. It is, if you've watched it, you know what I'm talking about. It is literally fucking nothing for like the first 50 minutes. And it's horrendous, but I still talk about it so often because it is the only piece of media that is truly made in the style that it is trying to convey. And because of that, it has relevancy. It just goes to show, don't try to please people. Because if the people who made Skinamarink try to please people, they would have made a normal movie and it would have flopped because they're not producers. If I would have tried to please people on the internet because I was afraid of their opinions or what they would say, or like how they would try to like DM me or like blow me up or add me to calls or whatever else, if I had given a second thought to it and tried to please these people, I would have never achieved my goal. Because as long as that element is there of me bending the knee, of me changing my will, and what I want to happen with my own life, if that element is there and I allow them to have that control over me, then that just opens Pandora's box. If Shadman hadn't, if Shadman tried to like make normal art, I mean, if you look at his art, it's not very good. He would have just been another DeviantArt person making like basically nothing, starving because, he's not good at art. If he had any like normal content, he would have gone nowhere. And so it just goes to show that like, if you are passionate something, if you have goals, you need to do it and accept the hate. You need to move forward. You need to continue doing it, because as long as your goals aren't reliant, like completely reliant 100% on being well liked, like if your goal is being well liked, well, tough shit. I don't know what to tell you. That's a dumb goal. But like if your goal is to like make money doing art, or if your goal is to be a musician or be a mechanic or whatever else, it doesn't matter. These internet people don't matter, and they never will. And I think that this video or like recording, it's going to piss a lot of people off, because people think that they want to be able to have power. They want to be able to have power over others who actually create. These people who do nothing, they want to be able to like whisper in creators' ears. They want to whisper in people who actually do something and have goals. They want to be able to whisper in their ears and have a modicum of control over them. And those people who are listening to this right now, rethink things, because your power cannot come from another person. It never will. You can work with people, good people, hopefully, but if your power and your abilities, your agency and your autonomy comes from another person, you being able to tell them what they can and can't do and influence their decisions, if that is your idea of power, you are sorely mistaken. And one day these people, it doesn't matter how good you get at manipulation, one day these people are going to be like, no, I don't want that anymore. And well, guess what? You're powerless, because you were never actually a real person. Never. You've never fostered anything of your own. And there's going to come a day whenever all of these internet people, they're gone, like they're going to go on and move on with their lives. Either they're going to die, or like they're going to like move on with their lives. They're going to go get a job. They're going to go get like a girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever else. And they're not going to have time to just be like manipulated anymore. They're going to like, there's going to be a day whenever they look at their phone, they're going to see a Discord notification and they're going to press the power button and put it back in their pocket and then go back to like slurping on like a matcha latte or whatever with their boyfriend. You know, and you got to be prepared for whenever that happens. And, you know, just never ever like rely on other people for your autonomy or for your sense of power. Never ever. All right. Well, I guess that's all that I want to talk about. So, we'll figure it out. Keep yourself safe.